She says if Donald Trump negotiates an end to Putin's war on Ukraine without Ukraine having to cede territory, I'll nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize myself.
Does this, let me ask you this, does this actually work on anybody? Does that kind of assholery work on anybody? Let's go on to this. President Trump is, he's been making the rounds. He's been making a lot of progress. And yesterday, he met with some of the, some people say Eurotrash. I would never say that. Leaders in D.C. And it all started off, before we get to some of the claims from the left, where they really want this administration to fail. And by that, I mean they really want never-ending war. It all kicked off with a warm welcome to Zelensky, who put on a suit, sort of. I guess he got the message.
Kinda.
Best I have. Pretty face. Every step.
President Trump, show your message to the people of Ukraine as world leaders gathered here today.
We love them. We love them.
Russia continues attacks in Ukraine, defending Kharkiv.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Couple of things there. First off, when he goes, this is the best I have, this suit, change it. That's why we think you're a disrespectful little prick. Stop by Men's Warehouse, get a 2-for-1. And look, this is the thing too, it's funny, right? Where people are talking about all cultures. Hey, it's a custom here. It just so happens to be a custom on the greatest country on earth. Put on a fucking suit. President Trump also, it's not a big deal. It's just respect our culture, you know? President Trump also, by the way, was in rare form. He had personalized greetings for each, I would never say Eurotrash leader.
Everyone knows President Macron of France, who's been with me from the beginning. One of the first people I met as a foreign dignitary, and I liked him from day one. And I like him even more now. That's pretty good. That's unusual. That's a pretty unusual thing. Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, who's a really great leader and an inspiration over there. She's served now, even though she's a very young person, she's served there for a long period of time relative to others. They don't last very long. You've lasted a long time. You're going to be there a long time. Chancellor Merz of Germany, who is
just picture Biden in this role.
Person,
right.
And a very strong leader and very highly respected in Germany. And he's my friend, and it's an honor. I like Negronis. Thank you very much. Very good. You look great with your tan.
Look at this.
Where'd you get that tan? I want to get a tan like that.
Where'd you get it? I get mine from a machine.
I stand and go, whoa.
Here's the thing. You may not like it, but the guy has something to offer in basic communications. Like,
well, but he got people to laugh. You're there for a very serious subject. You compliment people. You got them laughing. He understands how to work a room.
Well, one of the biggest lies that we were ever told, and they still try and sell, is, we're being mocked. We're being, we're the laughing stock of the international stage. Comment below. Does anyone actually believe that other leaders, the international community, respected us more with Biden at the helm? Does anyone actually, genuine comment? Right there, they're laughing. They're like, this guy, you're incorrigible, or whatever generic. You're incorrigible. That's Finland.
Wasn't Meloni the one that had to redirect him back to the meeting when they were doing the D-Day memorial?
I think so.
I think she was the one that walked over and grabbed him and was like, hey, by the way, be respectful. It's over here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where your country liberated our continent.
Yeah, chocolate chip. By the way, so there were some all-time great photo ops, including President Trump showing off his hat collection. Look at that. He's like, look, there's so many hats.
That is hilarious.
It's an episode of Cribs.
That one right there goes on my head.
I wore this one when I was shot.
Still got the blood.
There's a little blood there.
That's why it's red.
I love that hat. It's red on red, but it reminds me of the fact that I lived, that God loves me more than you.
Next, he's going to show him his Air Jordan collection.
Yeah. He's going to show what's in my fridge. Diet Coke and Gatorade. Actually, All Sport, I have to buy this on eBay. It's vintage. They stopped making it.
Show him the new Oval Office. This is where the magic happens. Do you like it? It's all gold.
I think it's a circle.
Here's another picture. There's what's in the next one? Oh, yeah, this picture of all the leaders gathered around the Resolute desk. Look at that.
That's awesome.
They're all around there. I love how he like crammed them in. Like, you can all get closer. I need all this space. And the best, here's a caption on X, because we put this out there. Who can you bring it up? Who posted this? Huge. Wrote, when you and your boys get caught being the weak men who create hard times. A runner-up to it, Cole Hedy Lamar, wrote, Maloney, I was told there would be antipasto. I still don't fully know what that means.
It's like appetizers in Italy.
Yes. Okay. Well, now I get
she's the Italian. Yeah.
I just thought it was like something that didn't like the pasta. Okay. Now, hey, anti-pasta.
It's like cheese and wine and stuff like that.
It's not enough to be anti this thing. You got to get your own thing. Now, this picture may have been the best one right here. Look at that. It's the worst Avengers movie ever. But, to be clear, they were also getting ready for the evening's festivities.
I want it.
We figured we'd throw it in.
That's cohesion.
Yeah. So, and we're going to get to You're Wrong About Everything here, and the references are all available, link in the description. This means that legacy media, seeing the man who's not supposed to be respected by the international community being unilaterally respected by the international community, seeing the man who was supposed to be a feckless, ineffective celebrity president being incredibly effective in accomplishing what no other leader has been able to do for years, well, that made them spurg. And that means that they're completely up in arms, accusing Donald Trump of abandoning Europe, doing Putin's bidding. You know, the same tired talking points that don't really apply, but they still try and apply them.
The President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, decided to have a meeting with him and then decided to invite him to the United States of America. You didn't have to do that. And then, you're showing it, rolled out literally a red carpet for him.
Putin clearly won.
There's no world in which Donald Trump, he doesn't like multilateral meetings because he likes to be able to bully people on their own.
It's unusual. All the stuff you just saw doesn't even happen for our Democratic allies.
Got a flyover, a red carpet, a lot of handshakes, and a lot of great state TV coverage back home.
How many times have you seen any of our Democratic allies, our NATO allies, or allies in Asia treated like that? It doesn't even happen.
The ones who didn't pay?
Donald Trump has accepted some version of Putin's, quote, peace plan.
Trump didn't come away with anything except more meetings.
Some of our allies are actually afed to visit the Oval Office right now.
Well, there's that problem, too.
Is this gone? What has happened?
Man on the right is a moray eel.
All of these things that Vladimir just described happened in Anchorage on Friday, and not a peep from anyone about how we welcome this guy with a literal red carpet.
Maybe there was something agreed to. Whatever that was hasn't been communicated to European allies or Ukraine.
And he's trying to strong arm and gaslight everybody into believing that this meeting was a 10 out of 10 and this is the right approach and that capitulation is the right strategy. And it's obviously not.
From former U.S. Secretary of State and former Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, here's what she has to say. This post she just put out a short time ago. She says, if Donald Trump negotiates an end to Putin's war on Ukraine without Ukraine having to cede territory, I'll nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize myself.
Let me ask you this. Does this actually work on anybody? Does that kind of assholery work on anybody? If without Ukraine ceding any territory, tell me when that's ever happened in the history of mankind. An inferior nation militarily, and if not for Western might coming to help them, coming to terms in a war that they're losing without compromising anything. Oh, okay, you're trying to set up a standard that could never possibly be met. And as for the man saying they're going to gaslight. Gaslight. Do you mean like gaslighting in the way that you said these leaders wouldn't meet with Donald Trump, in the way that you said these leaders have no respect for President Trump? Because we're going to get to the exact words from these leaders while they were all meeting on one side of the table with Donald Trump. And let's keep that in mind, the word gaslighting. It's time for why everything you say, you're wrong about everything.
Wrong.
All right, let's start with the left. So, what they say is that Friday's meeting with Putin was stupid, pointless, and something.
Well, I think last Friday, that Alaska summit was one of the most disastrous summits that I can think of.
Oh, no.
Did no good in terms of advancing America's interests or the interests of our allies or Ukraine. And we treated this horrible dictator who terrorizes Ukrainians every single night, as you just showed, by killing them through these attacks on civilians. We treated him like he was some special friend of the United States.
Okay, here's the reality.
Jesus, guy.
Okay. The NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte thanked President Trump. He didn't say it's completely pointless, rolled out a red carpet. He thanked President Trump for being the only person in years to finally break the deadlock. His words.
I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock. Basically with President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call, and from there we are now where we are today. And that is, I think, if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited.
By the way, that man's not a conservative as you would know it to be in the United States. So you have the left in the United States. This is not, it's accomplished nothing. He's sucking up to him. And you have that man, the man who would know, thanking President Trump for breaking the deadlock. Does that sound like we're less respected in the international? You know who didn't break the deadlock? Biden. Here's another one. The left. They claim that President Trump is still sucking up to Putin.
What the Europeans are coming to give Trump some support, some ballast for a position that may be against what Putin wants. I mean, again, my head was shaking today just where an American president says, you know, I'm going to have these conversations with you, but then let me get on the horn and talk to the Russian president about it and see, you know,
you can't get on the horn
to find out what's going on. I mean, and obviously Donald Trump is obsessed with appearing strong. I don't understand how it appears strong to have to call the Russian president and say, hey, here, let me tell you what's going on and what's your reaction to it.
Well, here's the reality. You wouldn't know strong if it walked up and pinched you on your bony ass. I don't know what's strong about, actually making a phone call to the most significant person who needs to be talked with in these discussions and conflict.
The strong thing would be to send our boys over there to die.
Or just the silent treatment. Nah.
But again, these people hate America. They hate Donald Trump so much they now hate America, because what he's doing is talking to one side and saying, hey, what can you live with? And then going over and saying, hey, we need to have a meeting to sit down with this. I think peace is close. He got the meeting, by the way. And this guy is so pissed off he doesn't understand the purpose of a moderator or some kind of mediation.
Right.
That's what's going on right here.
Well, let me hit you. I guess we need to hit it again. Let me hit you with the reality. Let's walk through this logically. Okay, you hate Putin. I got it. Okay. You like Zelensky, or you want to see Ukraine come out ahead, right? You want to see fewer Ukrainians die. Do we agree on that? Okay. For that to happen, would Zelensky at some point need to have a discussion or communication with Vladimir Putin if they're there to discuss some kind of a treaty? Right? That would need to happen at some point in time. Correct? So you want fewer Ukrainians to die. You want an end to this conflict. You accept the premise that Zelensky and Putin would have to interact at some point. They hadn't interacted, nor would they ever have interacted if not for that phone call or Donald Trump getting on the horn to suck up.
Themen heute besprochen und Sie haben das mitbekommen. Es hat eine Unterbrechung gegeben. In der Zeit hat der amerikanische Präsident mit dem russischen Präsidenten telefoniert und verabredet, dass es ein Treffen zwischen dem russischen Präsidenten und dem ukrainischen Präsidenten innerhalb der nächsten 2 Wochen geben wird. Präsident Trump hat sich bereit erklärt, danach erneut zu einem Dreiertreffen einzuladen, sodass die Verhandlungen jetzt wirklich aufgenommen werden können.
There you go. The only reason this meeting is taking place, or Zelensky or Putin will ever speak, is because of Donald Trump.
Yes. Does everybody forget what happened, like the whole progression here? So you had Putin finally travel to the United States, and you're like, oh, this is terrible. I can't believe we did this. The concession that came out of it was that we'd give some kind of like Article 5 protection that Putin kind of said was okay with him without actually having them join NATO, which he had never agreed to or even come close to before. And within days, literally, almost every important leader in Europe decided to get on a plane and come to the United States? You know how long these trips typically take to coordinate and organize?
At the behest of the Trump administration, they invited them. They said, look, spoke with Putin, get your asses here. They said, okay, yes. Or we'll get on a plane,
and
yes.
Then one more day, and now there's potentially a meeting between Putin and Zelensky, and then between Trump, Putin, and Zelensky to potentially end the war that's going to happen within 2 weeks. Am I taking crazy pills, or shouldn't the media be going, thank God somebody's finally talking. Thank God somebody's finally moving forward.
Yeah.
Thank God somebody is finally having a conversation that might actually result in peace. They're just going after him for how he talks to people, or that he rolled out a red carpet, or that he had the audacity to call the country that is absolutely capable of wiping Ukraine off the map if they chose to utilize their full arsenal and say, hey, can we get together and talk some peace with Zelensky?
I'll make a statement here, and then I'll substantiate it. President Trump actually, and this is a surprise to me, as it relates to foreign policy, is certainly right now, but arguably in recent history, but right now is the most effective leader in the world. Here's how you know. You know who couldn't get that many people, that many members, in one room that quickly? NATO itself. Let's go back to the left. Their claim that President Trump's negotiating style is dumb.
I just want to pause for a second and talk about how unorthodox, i.e. crazy,
forever.
the whole
Not you, Tim, this guy.
The fact that it starts with Zelensky arriving and holding a press conference before they've had a conversation. This has now become sort of normalized behavior. This is extraordinarily dumb and terrible negotiating, because you're giving your position away in advance. It puts whoever you're talking to in a horrible position. And this has now become a kind of foundation of Trump negotiation.
Yeah, okay. Here's the reality. As far as negotiation, the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb, said that more progress was made in the past 2.5 weeks than the last 3.5 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think in the past 2 weeks, we've probably had more progress in ending this war than we have in the past 3.5 years. And I think the fact that we're around this table today is very much symbolic, in the sense that it's Team Europe and Team United States helping Ukraine.
By the way, that's no small thing. Let me put this in context for you. When people say, I don't think the United States is the greatest country, the Finnish president said Team Europe, a continent, and Team Country. That's like saying, the Knicks, Team Knicks, and Team Entire Eastern Conference. Is that an accurate?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know. Is that
That's about right.
College basketball?
That's about right. Well, that's not college.
Canada said, don't forget about us.
We did, yeah.
They sound Finnish?
We did.
Yeah, that's how they sound in my head.
Is the conference a collegiate thing, or is it they have conferences?
Is a collegiate thing, but it's also a pro thing.
Okay, good. So I was close.
Yeah.
My point is Team Europe and Team One Country. All of NATO, 3.5 years. The rest of it couldn't get it done. One country, 2 weeks. You know what?
Here we go.
If you guys want to say we're actually not the greatest country, we're okay with you nipping at our heels, and we're just going to step into our role as the big old swinging dick of the world on account of the fact that you said Team Entire Continent and USA.
There you go. I think the delineation's good. Do me a favor, guy. Research that last guy, the guy that I told to pause for eternity. He was the former undersecretary of something public relations. Can you tell me when he was that position? Because the first guy that I hate was the former Russian ambassador, right? He was the guy saying, we didn't get anything out of this. I can't believe we let Putin, who kills all these people. You know when he was the Russian ambassador? 2012 to 2014. What happened in 2014?
Oh, something Crimea?
Yeah, your playbook failed. Your boss failed. I want to see this other guy. Are we really just going to go after the people whose foreign policy and decision-making processes led us to where we are today and ask them if they think a new track that seems to be having some positive results, at least in the fact that we're communicating with one another very well right now? Are we going to ask those guys how to fight this and solve this problem? Because I'm betting that guy that they had on MSNBC in the Tri-View is probably somebody from the Obama or Biden administration, which did nothing about this.
Yeah. You're absolutely. And here's something else, too. I'm tired of people saying, well, that happened later into his presidency, right? Barack Obama. Before Barack
He was still
Obama.
president, though, right?
But worse than that. Before Crimea, before Barack Obama told Mitt Romney, no, the 80s called, they want the foreign policy back. When he was running for president, Georgia happened. Do you remember that? John McCain, today, my friends, we're all Georgians. So Barack Obama saw what they now say is, this evil, this callousness. He saw it. He became president. He dismissed it as a non-issue, and then it happened again on his watch.
Yeah.
Then it didn't happen on someone's watch, and then it happened again on his VP's watch. So this excuse that, well, they didn't really see it coming. He was campaigning for the presidency when the Georgian conflict took place. I remember where I was sitting when I heard John McCain say, today, we're all Georgians. So a bonus here, by the way. Here's my prediction. You are going to see the left, as they accept the reality that this has been an incredible, a raging success. If this plays out in the way that it seems like it's going to, I should say, if this plays out as successfully as all of these European leaders and Donald Trump hopes for it to be, and Putin and Zelensky, they're going to try and act like either A, they were on board with this all along, and circumstances changed, but it's actually not Trump's doing, it was everybody else stepped up, or they'll try and undercut it and act like, really, this just sort of cut Ukraine off at the knees, so it was an act of cruelty. They're not going to admit that they said the negotiations shouldn't take place, the phone call should have never happened, and Donald Trump will not assist in any type of international agreement. They won't acknowledge that. There will never be accountability. Because yesterday, Harry Enton, who's a real person apparently, dropped some breaking news. Woo! Breaking news, by the way. Fresh, hot off the press. By that, I mean a week old. Extra, extra. Read all about it. Regarding Ukrainians' opinions on the war.
There have been some absolutely major shifts. The idea that Ukraine's going to achieve complete victory, that idea has collapsed within Ukrainian society. What are we talking about here? Ukrainians on the war versus Russia. You go back to 2022, the start of the war. Fight until Ukraine wins. Look at this. The vast majority, about three-quarters,
they covered this yesterday,
agreed with that position. Negotiate to end the war as soon as possible, only 22%. Look at where we are now. It's a complete flip. It's the inverse. Now 69% want to negotiate to end the war as soon as possible, compared to just 24% who want to fight until Ukraine wins. That's a 49-point drop in this position.
You guys saw that? Breaking news. That was August 18th. Except it happened quite a while before that, and it begs the question, why wouldn't they want to cover the opinions of Ukrainians dying themselves regarding the war before President Trump's first step meeting with Putin? Guess when we covered it? So before anything else, I just want you guys to know, before this meeting, there was a recent Gallup poll that showed that now 69% of Ukrainians favor a negotiation to the end of the war as soon as possible, with the remaining 24% being John Bolton. But no, it is true. 69% want an end to the war, right? And tomorrow, President Trump is going to be meeting with Putin in Alaska to discuss bringing all of this to a halt. I guess we scooped it 4 days before Adam Enton at CNN. Oh, you're still here watching this on YouTube? There's no more. It's over. Just like YouTube. YouTube is over. It's not a thing anymore. How many Seth Meyers clips do you need? Head on over to Rumble. Follow me there. Live on weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we can actually speak freely and don't have to self-censor. YouTube it's really not a thing. Like, you ever seen one of those towns that maybe was like a mining town, or maybe they made some kind of alloy? You say, hey, I wonder what they did in this town. It takes a while to find a person who can tell you what they did in that town, and even then you don't fully understand it. That's YouTube. YouTube is that town. So go to Rumble.